By 86% of people remarry within 5 years. What is that math?
Honestly, it's like the species keeps hitting retry on pain.
But the scary part is divorce can happen in 48 hours. How sudden is that?
Like once the relationship flips from "we'll fix it" to "this is war," it accelerates.
And sex is somehow everywhere in this story, not even just cheating.
Yeah, the guy's basically saying sexlessness is a canary in the coal mine.
Wait, canary is poetic, but what counts as enough sex?
Exactly. Enough is not a number. It's a shared baseline you stop updating.
So if someone's like, we used to do it weekly and now it's monthly, what then?
Then it becomes a conversation problem, not a sex problem. People get defensive instantly.
Defensive? I thought it's just, are you not attracted to me?
It turns into a fight because nobody wants to be the person who needs something.
He said marital problems come from two things. I don't know what I want.
And I don't know how to express it, which is basically the human default DLC.
Okay, but sex is the glue, sure, but glue for what? Roommates too, bro.
Romantic relationships have a sexual romantic component that signals pair bonding. Period.
So if sex changes, the whole system changes, like a ripple.
Yeah, sometimes it's less sex than less kindness. Other times it's less kindness than less sex.
That's brutal because it means fixing starts before the bedroom collapses.
That's why he keeps pushing preventative maintenance, not emergency repair in divorce court.
Preventative maintenance sounds like car servicing, but with love letters.
Exactly. Leave a note in the morning. Can't wait to see you. 10 seconds.
But people will be like, what is this? Why are you being weird?
The first time always scares them. Then it becomes your personality.
I like the idea, but do we really have to game love like engineering?
You don't have to, but lawyers do, because the contract is literally an engineering artifact.
Speaking of contracts, prenups, people treat it like a curse word.
He frames it as marriage is legal status, not just vibes and rings.
So prenup is rules for the economics if it breaks.
Yes, and yours, mine, ours. Plus, you can't set it and forget it. Money updates need conversations.
But the emotional part ruins it, right? If you ask for prenup, people think you're planning exit.
He basically says, you're still talking when you're calm, not when you're already angry.
He gave an example. Partner ultimatum, sign or we don't marry.
And that ultimatum is a terrible start because it turns marriage into fear instead of partnership.
I'm with him there. Start a marriage with dread. It's downhill.
Also, if your relationship can't survive a prenup conversation, it won't survive a real crisis.
Okay, but the prenup story with the 10-pound clause? That's insane.
For every 10 plumbers she gained, she loses $10,000 a month. It was enforceable too.
So even courts can say disgusting, but contract. That's cold logic.
He calls it honest in a way, like it spells out value exchange explicitly.
I hate that I understand his point, though. Love as an economy, giving and taking.
Yeah, but he tries to avoid gold digger as a slur. He says it's about what each person brings.
Still, the worst case is when one person believes he's in love with my personality, while it's mostly money.
That delusion is probably the most dangerous one, because you don't see the actual incentives.
And then people add fidelity clauses to prenups, penalty for cheating.
He hates those clauses because defining cheating is messy and one-size-fits-all is dumb.
Like drunk kiss versus 6-week emotional affair, penalty shouldn't be identical.
Exactly. Plus, cheating already has consequences. Adding economic penalty might just create more underground behavior.
So the real solution is preventative maintenance and better communication.
He also drops this hits and send now technique for hard conversations.
That's basically, don't ambush, don't attack, say it honestly while goodwill exists.
Hit send now is funny, but the concept is make it clear it's not a weapon.
And do it quickly and honestly, like not hiding the email in your drafts folder for months.
If you rewrite it forever, it's not honesty anymore, it's self-defense.
I love the part where he argues candor is like fitness, uncomfortable at first.
And the alternative is worse. If you don't listen now, you'll be forced to listen later in divorce court.
Okay, last thing before we spiral. Happy wife, happy life is basically a tragedy slogan.
He roasts it. Mildly dissatisfied wife plus you watching football isn't the goal.
Yeah, that's not romance, that's just low-heat conflict management.
Exactly. And he keeps returning to quality of life over performative signals.
Because social media happiness is often the opposite. Empty barrels make the most noise.
All right, let's lock it in. Sex is a signal, prenups are risk calming, and maintenance beats emergency.
And conversations, especially the awkward ones, have to happen before the bedroom turns into a courtroom.
Cool, now I want to go write my partner a note like a nerd.
Do it, 10 seconds, no overthinking, hit send now.
Episode 2, we go deeper on how couples actually repair after the slip, especially when sex and resentment get tangled.
Economy of love is such a cold phrase, but honestly, it kinda clicks.
It does, because an economy implies exchange, not just feelings floating around.
But then people weaponize it, like I brought beauty, you owe me security.
Yeah, and the lawyer in the story would say, cool, make the rules explicit.
Prenups as risk calming, not romance killing, sounds controversial out loud.
Because culturally we treat prenups like jinxing the wedding, which is insane.
It's like telling someone, let's buy life insurance, and they hear you're dying soon.
Exactly, and the other person panics, so marriage never even starts.
That's wild. They fold the request instead of negotiating the fear.
And he basically said it's a bad first impression, intimidation masquerading as trust.
Trust without clarity is just vibes with legal consequences later.
Also, he made a point that marriage itself is legal status, not just the ring.
Right? People act like the law is optional, like it's a playlist you can skip.
And laws change too. Alimony rules shifting shows you can't treat it as static.
So the prenup is basically, we update our own rule book before the patch breaks.
That's a good way to say it, but also, the incentives can get disgusting.
Bro, the weight clause, $10,000 alimony penalty per 10 pounds. What?
And it was enforceable, which is the most terrifying part about enforceability.
He called it a kind of love, and I hate that I understand the logic.
He was basically arguing, if both parties knowingly sign, courts won't rescue you.
But unconscionable isn't the same as unethical, right?
Yeah, unconscionable hinges on fairness at the time of signing, not your later regrets.
Which means people should treat a prenup like a product spec, not a mood board.
And then he went full engineer mode, baseline weight, bargaining leverage, timing.
Lawyers don't get invited to parties because we immediately model the loopholes.
It's funny, but it's also darkly practical. Every line item becomes a lever.
Okay, but what I loved was his anti-fidelity clause take.
Yeah, fidelity clauses collapse cheating into one bucket, but humans aren't one bucket.
One-time drunken kiss is not the same as an emotional 6-week attachment.
And he said, defining cheating is tricky, but consequences already exist emotionally.
Cheating is its own penalty. Sounds like he's seen the chaos up close.
He compared it to making drugs illegal. People don't weigh ethics mid-impulse.
So economic penalties won't stop betrayal. They'll just add paperwork trauma.
Plus, emotional affairs differ. Men ask, did you sleep with them? Women ask, are you in love?
That line is both generalizing and also, it tracks too hard, annoyingly.
And then we pivoted back to sex as a canary, not just a symptom.
Sexlessness as early warning is such a blunt metric, but I respect the bluntness.
Because sex is definitional to romantic pair bonding. Without it, the relationship changes texture.
Not you must have sex daily, but notice the slip before the drift becomes divorce.
And the drift is often reciprocal. Less sex, less kindness, more resentment, more distance.
So the real fix is preventative maintenance, not desperate repairs in court mode.
He really sells the gym analogy. Discomfort first, rhythm later, payoff becomes obvious.
My problem is I hear maintenance and I think I'll do it when I feel inspired.
That's why he gave the 10-second note, remove the romantic tax.
Leave a note like, I had the prettiest girl in the world, and just done.
It sounds cheesy until you remember how often partners don't get direct appreciation.
We normalize taking each other for granted, then act shocked when the glow dies.
He blamed culture too. Pissing on your partner in public becomes a habit.
And then people repeat slogans like, happy wife, happy life, like it's advice from God.
That slogan always sounds like, Sit quietly while she's moderately displeased.
Exactly. What kind of goal is that, to outsource intimacy to silence?
He pushed for candor, plus listening, basically. Say it with love, hear it with love.
I'm obsessed with the hit send now technique. Panic-proof honesty.
Yes, because rewriting becomes procrastination, and procrastination becomes resentment storage.
So you tell the hard thing when goodwill is present, not during the nuclear fight.
And he gave the example. Hey, sex dropped. I still desire you. What changed?
That question is so disarming compared to "you're neglecting me."
Also, it forces the partner out of mind reading. Reality replaces the 1,000 narratives.
Because my brain will invent 999 reasons and only one is real.
That's the whole point. Discomfort now beats emergency later.
Preventative love is basically threat modeling, but for human hearts.
And surprisingly, it's optimistic, because repair is possible if you pay attention early.
All right, we'll wrap it here, because I'm now emotionally prepared to write a note.
I'm prepared to be brave with candor, not just brave with my takes.
Next episode: how couples actually repair after the slip, especially when sex and resentment tangle.
You said sex is the canary. Like, where does sexlessness land?
It's definitional to romance, not just a random checkbox.
But lots of couples have low sex and still stay happy, right?
Sure, but often is different from always, you know?
Often is what lawyers love and therapists hate, apparently.
Exactly, because low sex usually means the system is already glitching.
So it's not always cause, it's the alarm bell in the room.
Right, sometimes resentment cuts intimacy, sometimes intimacy drains resentment.
And then people fight about it like it's a court case.
Yeah, they bring evidence, accusations, and zero curiosity.
The classic spiral, you don't want me, becomes you're doing something.
And meanwhile, the real issue is nobody expresses wants safely.
That I don't know what I want and I don't know how to say it thing.
That's like 99% of the battle, honestly.
So the preventative move is talk before the headline happens?
Exactly. Do the maintenance while you still like each other?
But maintenance feels boring compared to the romance people chase.
Oh, totally. Romance is thrilling. Until it becomes a subscription model for chaos.
That's brutal, but fair.
You know what I find wild? People normalize marriage like it's skydiving.
Wait, marriage is skydiving to you?
Not literally, but rationally, it makes no sense to assume it's automatic.
The bar is, we vibe for 4 years, and suddenly it's legally binding forever.
And they have no idea what rights they just bought or accidentally surrendered.
Which loops back to prenups. People treat them like an insult, not a tool.
Yeah, the timing matters. Asking for structure should feel like care, not threat.
But if your partner hears prenup, their brain instantly writes the divorce movie.
Exactly. Mind reading turns into storytelling, and storytelling turns into panic.
So how do you cross that line between lawyer brain and relationship brain?
It's seamless because this stuff is soaked in emotion whether we like it or not.
I still hate the word economy around love, though.
Same, but I'd rather be precise than poetic and wrong.
Like love can be an economy of value, resources, attention, safety, effort.
Yes, give and take, that can be healthy, not transactional coldness.
Unless it's the 10 LB alimony clause. That's not value exchange. That's a scale-based horror film.
It was enforceable too, which makes it extra disgusting.
Courts looked at that and went, contract is contract.
They did, because unconscionability at signing matters, not how it feels later.
So prenups can be romantic in a weird defensive way.
They can be, because it's basically I want clarity so you don't panic later.
Still, the ultimatum prenup story sounds like starting marriage with a gun on the table.
Yep, and that's how couples scheduled to happen. Just don't.
But you're saying discussion is better than silence, like planning a fight when you're calm?
How do we fight beats learn during the fight, every single time.
You're basically coaching people to do fight rehearsal like it's a gym routine.
Totally. Exercise first feels awful, then becomes a rhythm that keeps you alive.
All right, but will people actually do it, or do they need a divorce lawyer haunting them?
Ideally, they do it because they're aiming at staying happy, not avoiding punishment.
That's preventative maintenance as optimistic threat modeling. Right?
Threat modeling, but with more hand-holding and fewer spreadsheets.
Fewer spreadsheets is a huge upgrade.
And you start small. Courtesy gestures, sincere compliments, tiny check-ins.
Like your note in warning thing. So stupidly simple it should be illegal.
10 seconds, and yet people act like it summons demons.
Wait, why did their partner react weird the first time?
Because people aren't trained to receive direct warmth. They expect sarcasm or neglect.
Culture really rots that muscle. Happy couple branding while the relationship leaks internally.
Empty barrels make noise. Real joy doesn't need marketing.
And you see wealth whispering too, right? The people who don't flaunt it.
Yeah. If someone has to prove it loudly, you usually find debt underneath.
So both money and love follow the same law. Perform less, feel more.
That's your TED Talk tonight, not mine.
Fine, let me tie it back. Prenups, sex talks, notes, hit send now. All are discomfort management.
Yeah, discomfort now beats emergency later, like you said.
Still scares people, though, because candor means they might be wrong.
And being wrong is survivable. Being silent until betrayal is detected is not.
I think that's the whole preventative love idea. Repair is possible if you pay attention early.
Exactly. Don't wait for the ship to list before you check the bolts.
Okay, I'm officially convinced. I'm writing the morning note. No negotiations.
Do it like it's a contract, short, honest, and kind.
Dear partner, you are valuable. Signed, me.
Perfect. And remember, if they ask why, just say, maintenance.
Maintenance. The romantic brand they didn't teach us.
All right, I think we've done enough emotional compliance for today.
Same. Next we do episode 2, where we fix what slips.
Yeah, how couples repair after the slip, especially when sex and resentment tangle.
See you there, because preventative love is great, but recovery is the real skill.
The part that hit me is this idea that marriage is an economy.
Yeah, and the scary part is people pretend it's romance-only accounting.
He's basically saying love is a verb with receipts, not vibes.
Receipts are fine, but do we really need alimony weight clauses?
That 10 billion equals $10,000 a month thing was disgusting and somehow enforceable.
Courts looked at it and went, unconscionable at signing, not later.
That's what freaks me out. People assume fairness appears magically later.
And the lawyer keeps saying, the contract at the time matters most.
So the incentive becomes eat cheeseburgers before weigh-in, right?
He said it like a strategy guide for divorce gymnastics.
Honestly, it's so technical it makes you want to call your partner now.
Wait, what if the tech kills the human part, like we turn intimacy into engineering?
Exactly, because if you talk prenup like a legal raid, it's already poisoned.
But he also said it can be romantic if you frame it as clarity and care.
Hit send now for relationship issues is wild, though.
That's the most corporate-sounding love advice I've ever heard.
Still, the technique is smart. Be honest fast while goodwill exists.
And not in the middle of a fight, because then you're just attaching violence to words.
The worst time to learn how to fight is during the fight line should be tattooed.
Now let's go to the sex part. He's basically calling sex the canary in the coal mine.
Which I love because it's practical. Watch the change, don't wait for catastrophe.
But how often is not enough? It's like define it without turning it into a scoreboard.
Yeah, one fewer round per week is not automatically a divorce warning sign.
He did say it's reverse engineering, though. People won't admit the real slow slide.
Reverse engineering. A marriage shipwreck is a horrible job description.
But the logic is, sex is definitional to romantic pair bonding, so shifts matter.
Do you buy the sex is the thing that makes it romantic framing?
Partially, but there are asexual couples, long-distance seasons, health stuff.
True, but I think he means in most couples, the sex dynamic reflects connection or distance.
Like relationship barometers. Sometimes it's the hurricane, sometimes it's the pressure drop.
And then you talk about it without turning it into accusation roulette.
But people love accusing. You stopped having sex, so you must be cheating.
Or, you're not nice to me, so it's your job to sleep with me, which is gross.
He basically said couples fall into a death spiral where both are right and nothing improves.
Which is why preventative maintenance beats therapy after the blowout.
He compared it to exercise. Soreness first, rhythm later. Do you think people can do that?
Some will, some won't. But the default avoid discomfort forever strategy is insane.
Exactly, because the cost of avoidance is way higher later, emotionally and legally.
And legally, it's like, you don't get to set it and forget it with prenups.
That part was overlooked by everyone. Prenup is not a magic shield, it's recurring conversations.
Like, why are you putting bonus money in your soul account? Is the real relationship test.
Couples will do spreadsheets but won't do, hey, I need closeness, in the same spirit.
Also, his point about why people resist prenups is very human. Fear of getting out before getting in.
But then they also enter marriage with zero understanding of obligations. Also fear, just dressed differently.
I trust my feelings versus I trust the law. Neither is a plan, both are vibes.
And then fidelity clauses. Those are the next level villain setup.
Yes, because defining cheating is messy, and the emotional affair versus drunken kiss changes everything.
He gave that gender pattern too. Men ask, did you sleep with them? Women ask, are you in love?
That's a stereotype, but as a directional insight into what people fear, it's useful.
A penalty clause for betrayal assumes cheating is the main variable, but often the relationship was already unstable.
It's like punishing the symptom instead of treating the disease, also turns love into extortion.
I liked his cheating already has consequences argument. Most people don't need extra financial penalties to suffer.
Unless the person is a total sociopath with an spreadsheets fetish.
I'll risk the alimony tax energy.
Speaking of risk, he made this huge claim. 86% of people remarry within 5 years after divorce.
That number is insane. It implies divorce isn't the end of the we want partnership story.
Yeah, humans seem drawn to the concept even after it fails, like we're addicted to the technology of marriage.
But doesn't that also suggest people don't learn? This time it's different, is basically a cognitive bias factory.
He even described that rich guy remarrying a younger woman after the ugliest divorce ever.
4 to 5 years of horror, then I've never felt anything like this. Incredible delusion speedrun.
That's why prenups feel necessary. They force conversations before romance launders reality.
And then preventative love is the opposite. Keep talking early, before the resentment grows teeth.
Leave notes, say you appreciate them. Don't normalize contempt as humor.
Happy wife, happy life is such a lazy motto, though. Basically, don't disturb the TV hours.
He roasted it so hard. The goal is not mildly dissatisfied while football happens.
Right. His underlying theme is quality over avoidance. Maintain the relationship while it's still yours to maintain.
And that's the lesson. Invest in discomfort now so you don't learn the hard way later.
Okay, I feel attacked in a loving way. I'm going to message my partner something stupidly sincere.
Do it like it's a contract, short, honest, and kind.
Signed, me. That's going in the archive of my soul.
All right, we're drifting into personal productivity mode.
Same. Let's close before we start drafting fidelity clauses for our friendships.
Great conversation. Next up, we go deeper on repair after the slip.
Because preventative love is great, but recovery is the real skill.
If you ever felt we're fine while something was rotting, this one's for you.
See you in episode 2, when couples fix what slips, especially with sex and resentment.
Next episode, how to restart intimacy without pretending it never broke. Okay, the part about preventative maintenance gave me goosebumps.
Because it's annoyingly actionable, like leave a note in 10 seconds.
10 seconds? Bro, my brain needs 3 hours in a spreadsheet.
Exactly, you over-engineer love, and he literally engineers it back.
But I hate that it sounds like love is a process you can optimize.
It's not cold optimization, it's noticing the drift before it becomes divorce fuel.
Death spiral is such a brutal phrase for something people normalize.
People will call it just a phase, like emotions run on Wi-Fi.
And the worst part is, everyone argues about fixes when they're already past the point.
Like learning how to fight mid-fight. Why do we do that to ourselves?
Because it's free therapy for the lawyers, apparently.
He basically said, I show up after the fire, not during the smoke.
Wait, but he also made sex sound like a canary in a coal mine.
Yeah, he's like, when sex changes, something else is already changing too.
I'm with him, but I also feel like sex can be a symptom, not always the disease.
True, but he didn't claim it's the only cause. He said it's usually in the system.
The pair bond argument was weirdly compelling, though.
Like evolution said, make it romantic with sex, and then we got surprised it matters.
Humans always act shocked when basic incentive structures show up.
Also, he challenged the baseline question. Enough compared to what?
That's actually the most mature framing I've heard in months.
Yeah, because not enough is meaningless until you set the context together.
Context is hard, though, because people weaponize the comparison instantly.
I saw Jenny and Dave post a reel, and now my marriage is unconstitutional.
Exactly. Social media turns intimacy into a scoreboard.
And he's right. People with real joy don't over-advertise it.
Empty barrels make the most noise, and Instagram is basically a barrel factory.
He also went after the happy wife, happy life mantra like it's dogma poisoning.
That line about football made me laugh, but also, ouch.
Because the goal becomes don't yell at me, not let's actually connect.
I liked how he framed quality of life over growth for growth's sake.
Yeah, he basically said reproduction without meaning is just biological autopilot.
I'm not gonna lie, the cancer cell analogy is aggressive.
Divorce lawyers are allowed to be dramatic. It's their brand.
Okay, now jump to prenups because that part was spicy.
Spicy because it's the exact conversation people avoid until it's too late.
I get the logic, but emotionally it feels like you're saying, if love fails, money wins.
Or it's you saying, I respect both outcomes enough to plan, not I expect failure.
He made it sound like life insurance for the messy future.
But the real shock was the wait to alimony clause.
For every 10 pounds, 10 grand a month? That's not a contract, that's an HR policy.
That clause basically hired a full-time referee for the scale.
And then he goes, lawyers don't get invited to parties because they immediately game it.
The imagine your body as an engineering problem part was hilarious.
But also terrifying, because it reveals how adversarial the system can be.
That's why his equity buckets explanation matters. Yours, mine, ours.
But you need ongoing conversations, not sign and forget, right?
Exactly. If you can't talk about where bonus money goes, prenup becomes cosplay.
And that's what people fear. If we talk money rules, we're already doomed.
He argued the opposite. Good couples can handle hard talks while the goodwill exists.
Still, I can see how an ultimatum ruins it, like sign or we don't marry.
Yeah, because then it's not planning, it's coercion. Totally different vibe.
He even said threats of prenup discussions can prevent marriages.
Which is insane, but also, humans are risk-averse toddlers with spreadsheets.
That's the most accurate description of relationship behavior I've heard.
Now, fidelity clauses. This is where he went hard against it.
Because defining cheating is messy, and penalties don't map neatly onto reality.
Plus, cheating already has consequences, so adding a financial stick is redundant and weird.
Also, he said men ask, did you sleep with them? And women ask, are you in love?
That's a generalization, but it captures how different the threats feel emotionally.
And his point was, emotional affairs can be the real fracture, not just the act.
So a one-size penalty clause is basically the legal version of a blunt instrument.
This episode is basically don't outsource your marriage to avoidance.
Yep, instead of pretending everything's fine, do the tiny reps, notes, talks, repair.
The whole hit send now technique felt like a gift, though.
Because it forces honesty while signaling it's not an attack in disguise.
And doing it quickly, while in goodwill, matters more than people admit.
Otherwise, the conversation turns into resentment archaeology, and nobody likes digging.
Resentment archaeology is the worst kind of hobby.
All right, we're circling the core. Prevent drift, talk early, and treat intimacy like it needs care.
And also stop thinking sex is just a detail. It's often the early warning system.
Okay, breathe, because if I start leaving notes tomorrow, I'll need emotional permission.
Permission denied, leave the note anyway. That's the whole thesis.
Deal, and we'll cover how to repair the slips in episode 2.
Cool. Thanks for hanging with us, everyone.
And remember, repair is a skill, not a miracle.
See you in episode 2, when couples restart intimacy without pretending it never broke. Okay, but sex is an early warning system is such a savage line.
It's not savage, it's just measurable in real life, not theory.
You're telling me my marriage can't survive without the vibe feedback loop?
Basically, yeah. When the sexual frequency collapses, something else collapses too.
Collapses in what order, though? Sex first or the we hate each other first?
He implied it can be either, but sex is always part of the system.
That makes it worse and better, because you can actually notice the slide.
Right, because couples usually don't admit the real start date of the sinking.
People are like, things got weird randomly in 2022. No, they didn't.
And the self-reporting is messy. Delusion, projection, denial, vibes-based math.
Divorce lawyers are just emotion mathematicians with better stationery.
Full-contact storyteller is the funniest job description I've heard.
But I buy the caution. The loop breaks and then courtesy breaks too.
Yeah, sex is definitional to romantic pair bonding, not just one hobby.
Wait, you mean people can live together and just not be romantic?
We can, but humans rarely do that without turning it into resentment.
So preventative maintenance means you don't wait for the resentment to file paperwork.
Exactly. Small gestures as gestures, early conversations, and not treating intimacy like a fixed machine.
The note thing is wild, though. 10 seconds, and suddenly you're a romantic ninja.
The idea is to stop assuming your partner already knows they matter.
But I can hear it now. Why are you leaving notes like it's a hostage situation?
That first reaction is always confusion, then later it becomes a signal of care.
And that's where the economy framing hits. Love is not just feelings, it's exchange.
He's saying value moves both directions: respect, support, attraction, safety.
I'm going to push back. Calling it economics makes it sound transactional.
It can sound transactional, but he keeps stressing it doesn't devalue love.
Tell that to my brain, which instantly starts ROI calculations during cuddles.
Fine, but think about the alternative, pretending there are no incentives or imbalances.
Okay, yes, if you ignore incentives, you get the we're in love blindness.
And prenups are basically incentive clarity, before emotions go full blender.
Prenup as emotional adulting. I hate how correct that feels.
Did you notice how he separated marriage as religion, social identity, and legal status?
That part was good, because people treat it like vibes, but courts treat it like paperwork.
And rules change mid-flight: tax deductibility, spousal support rules, contract trapped inside changing law.
So even if you make a promise, the universe can rewrite the terms later.
Exactly, which is why he thinks couples should write structures, not just hope.
But do people actually use prenups like yours, mine, ours, or do they just sign and forget?
They forget, then the relationship gets surprised. And surprise is expensive.
The scary part is, if you can't talk about money now, you definitely can't talk about it later.
Which is why his hit send now technique is so useful. Say hard things while goodwill exists.
That's preventative maintenance for the nervous system, not just the relationship.
You frame it as shared risk. I care enough to say this, not to attack you.
This is not a murder weapon, it's a status update.
Yes, because middle-of-fight conversations are where bad math happens.
But what about the offensive stuff, like sex frequency or jealousy? How do you say it without detonating?
He's basically saying, if you don't risk clarity, you end up filling the gaps with fantasies.
You mean I'll invent a cheating narrative from one quiet evening?
All humans do that, then call it intuition. It's just unverified panic.
Okay, but sex as the canary sounds gendered sometimes. People assume it's always about desire.
Desire, stress, resentment, health. There's a whole ecosystem under it, but the signal still matters.
And the signal is something shifted in closeness, not fix it with a single performance.
Exactly. Prevention isn't manipulation, it's attention and repair.
Repair is a skill, not a miracle. I want that on a t-shirt.
Speaking of repair, we're skipping fidelity clauses, but I still can't get over his take.
Fidelity clauses, where cheating gets defined and monetized, right?
His critique is sharp. Cheating is messy to define, and the penalty becomes a one-size-fits-all punishment.
Sure, honey, we'll just litigate the vibes of betrayal.
And emotionally, it's already punishing. Adding money penalties doesn't stop the behavior.
Plus, there are different levels of infidelity, fleeting versus ongoing versus emotional connection.
His contrast of, "Did you sleep with them?" versus, "Are you in love with her?" was interesting.
That's not a universal law, but it does reveal what each side fears most.
Which is why enforcement frameworks can miss the real problem, the breach in intimacy.
And then the relationship becomes an underground economy of secrets.
He basically compares it to making drugs illegal. People don't stop. Systems go hidden.
So preventative love is the opposite. Don't hide, don't delay, and don't outsource honesty.
Yep, talk early, maintain attention, and treat intimacy like it's alive.
And for the anxious crowd, a prenup isn't a curse. It's a map for if things break.
Which is why he hates the ultimatum dynamic. Asking for a prenup shouldn't be the opening fight.
But also, sometimes couples need permission to be adult about fear.
Fear is normal. Pretending it's not there is what makes it explosive.
All right, I'm convinced. Leave notes, check sex as a signal, and stop waiting for disaster.
And next episode, we'll get into how couples actually repair without pretending it didn't break.
Yep, repair plans, micro behaviors, and what to do when the vibe is off.
For now, go practice that uncomfortable honesty while you still have goodwill.
And we'll see you in episode 2, when preventative becomes repairable.
Stay tuned, because we're going to turn all this into practical conversation moves.